Hi there, Richard Fulmer here, and welcome to another edition of Richard's Rock Rambles. So today we're going to start with our second top 10 songs. And if the Black Sabbath one, which I did last time, was hard, this was way harder. My favorite band of all time, Led Zeppelin. Honestly, I could have put in every song from the first 5 or 6 albums, but that would have been a bit too much. So to narrow it down to 10 took quite some doing. Throwing in, chucking out, changing things. Please guys remember this is my top 10. You guys have your own top 10 I'm sure. Please put it down below. So let's get stuck in. Coming in at number 10 from Led Zeppelin 3, an album which had a lot of acoustic stuff on it. But the track that I've chosen is the kickoff track, Immigrant Song, which is an amazing track which starts off and it just hits in. John Bonham just smashing the drums. Great riff from Jimmy Page. A song about Vikings and fighting and all the rest of it. Just a great track to start off an album with. So that's number 10, Immigrant Song. Then number 9, No Quarter from Houses of the Holy, with that really eerie keyboard work from John Paul Jones. You listen to that with the lights off, it's quite eerie, quite scary stuff. Great track nonetheless. Some great vocals from Robert Plant, and the band really got that song together quite well. Number 8, Black Dog from Led Zeppelin 4, the massive Led Zeppelin 4, which spawned so many different hits. Black Dog was I think the first track on the album. The nice, very interesting drum beat from John Bonham, sort of on the off beats, and it became a classic for the band. Then number 7 from Led Zeppelin 1, Communication Breakdown, with an amazing riff from Jimmy Page. Great vocals as well. Excuse me, I just need to wet my whistle. Even in those early days, you could hear how much power Robert Plant had in his voice. I don't think there'd been too many vocalists around at that time who sounded like he did. And along with Jimmy Page and John Bonham and John Paul Jones, the whole package just came together on that first album. And that track, Communication Breakdown, just exemplifies how great they were on that album. Then Led Zeppelin 2, for my number 6, The Lemon Song. Some really cool lyrics about juice running down your leg, etc., etc. You can read into that whatever you like. Sort of a bluesy number. They borrowed a lot from the blues in their first couple of albums. Once again, great vocals from Robert Plant. And an album which produced so many great tracks. But that's one of the standout ones for me, The Lemon Song. Then from a few albums later, Physical Graffiti, my number 5, the epic Kashmir, which would become one of these sort of standout epic rock tracks from the 70s. Very atmospheric, grandiose, bombastic, an amazing track with some great keyboard work and one of the best riffs that Jimmy Page ever did. That would become a staple of their live concerts, I think right up until the end. A great track. Then for number 4, the well-known Whole Lotta Love from Led Zeppelin 2. I think along with Deep Purple, Smoke on the Water, Black Sabbath, Paranoid, this would become an iconic song which everybody would eventually hear on the radio. That great opening riff from Jimmy Page, and there was that middle piece with a sort of stereo panning going on. If you have headphones on, it's incredible. So yeah, great track, Whole Lotta Love. My top 3, number 3 coming in is Dazed and Confused from Led Zeppelin 1, their first album. Also has a middle piece which is incredible. The song speeds up at the end, so much power. That was the track where Jimmy Page would use his bow on the guitar live. I think he also used it in the studio. A great track, one of the best things they ever did. And for a debut album, that must have amazed them. I think when they got together in the studio, they were just laughing at each other because they knew they were onto something really good. And that track is probably, for me, the standout track on that album. So my last 2 come from the same album. My second favorite track is from the album Presence, Nobody's Fault But Mine. That track showcases John Bonham's drumming for me like no other. A lot of offbeats, very proggy kind of track. Great guitar work from Jimmy Page. Presence would really become Jimmy Page's album. A lot of angry guitar work. That's why I love that album so much. Yeah, nobody's fault but mine. Great vocals from Robert Plant as well. So my number one is also from Presence. The first track on the album, Achilles' Last Stand. Another epic track from Zeppelin. Quite long. Yeah, a great track. And if you think at that time they were in a bad space, Robert Plant had broken his ankle in a car crash, and they had other personal problems, and they came out, I thought, with an amazing album. And that track shows you how angry and how they just wanted to get it done. You know, in the studio, I think Robert Plant actually fell over from his chair or whatever he was sitting on, and he managed to break his ankle twice. Nevertheless, that's a great track. With Page doing some great solos. So there we have it. Top 10 of Led Zeppelin. Not easy. And if you had to ask me the same list next week, it'll probably be a little different, except maybe for my top 2. So I have some honorable mentions as well. So we'll go through these. From Led Zeppelin 1, I Can't Quit You Babe. That great blues track with great vocals from Robert Plant. Led Zeppelin 2, Ramble On. Also a great track from that. Led Zeppelin 3, Celebration Day, Since I've Been Loving You, that slow blues track with some great vocals. Led Zeppelin 4, Battle of Evermore, where they had Sandy Denny from Fairport Convention doing backing vocals with Robert Plant. Sort of a folksy kind of country-ish kind of song, really nice. And When the Levee Breaks. From Houses of the Holy, The Rain Song and Dancing Days. From Physical Graffiti, the double album, which had a lot of hits. In My Time of Dying, eerie kind of track. In the Light, Down by the Seaside, Custard Pie, and Trampled Underfoot. And then a few more from Presence. T for One, that blues number, which is amazing. Joe Bonamassa actually covered that track very well on one of his albums. And for me, that's a better blues number than Since I've Been Loving You from Led Zeppelin 3. Just my personal opinion, of course. And For Your Life is another track which is great off that album. Their last album, called In Through the Outdoor, didn't do really well for them. It was the advent of the 80s. They were trying different things. They're very much a John Paul Jones based album. A lot of keyboard work, a lot of synths. But for me, the best tracks on there are Carousel Alhambra, which is a long track, different pieces to it, different rhythms, different sections, a lot of great keyboard work from John Paul Jones. And the last track, well, the other track on there that I really like is In the Evening, sort of an atmospheric, some great drumming from John Bonham. And that would sadly be their last album, In Through the Outdoor. So there we go, my honorable mentions. Next time on the top 10 songs, another difficult band for me to try and choose a top 10, but I'll give it a bash. And we're going to have a look at the band Deep Purple, a band still going today. So hopefully you guys will join me then. And please, if you have a top 10 of Led Zeppelin, like to see it down below. Like and subscribe, guys. And any comments always welcome. So I'll see you next time for some Purple. Ciao.